everyone. Welcome back to Oh Sugar. I'm your host, Elise Gamble. Today we're going to be talking about the nuts and bolts of how to eat. So grab your juice boxes and let's go. Today we're going to be talking about the not so much fun part of eating. I've already shared with you some of the delicious foods that I like to eat, but we really have to understand how our body is processing these. So, like I had mentioned previously, your pancreas is not producing enough insulin because your beta cells are killing themselves, and that means that you have to have insulin injected into you so that your your cells can absorb the glucose, which gives you energy. So that's a big part of how your body is going to be processing food, is through insulin. But we have to make sure that we're feeding it the good, right stuff. So it's been really hard for me to do carb counting. I don't know about you guys, but just reading the labels is fine, but I feel like there's so much more that goes into it than just the simple carbs. I noticed that I can't eat oatmeal or a little bit of frozen yogurt doesn't spike me. So I'm thinking, like, why? What is it about my body that's different? So what I've noticed is that you want to be looking at your fiber, the carbs, and the protein all as one whole package, and that's going to determine how your body is going to respond to the sugars, because you kind of want like a slow incline and a slow decline. You don't want to like spike right up, which is what oatmeal and pasta and white rice kind of does to me. Some of the apps that I found that have been really helpful are the Calorie King app, and then there is also a Diabetic app. I am blanking on it, but I will put it in the comments later. And then there is a great book out there for if you're deciding if you want to eat out. That is the Calorie King, and it has like a whole bunch of different restaurants, fast food places, and it gives you the entire nutritional guide to it. So I highly recommend you check that out at your library or buy it through Amazon in the comments below. And then something else to consider, which a lot of times people don't really notice because it doesn't really have impact on your sugars, is the amount of sodium in things. So if we start as like a whole meal thing, you definitely want to make sure that you're getting protein, which is about 3 ounces or the size of a deck of cards. Then you want about that same amount. For me, it's about 30 carbs per meal as your carb, and then you want the other half of your plate to be full of your fiber and veggies. And I like a lot of greens. They make me feel good. So yeah. And then some things that you have to take into account are, okay, I have chicken, right? That's healthy, but I have the skin on it that has a whole bunch of extra sodium, which can hurt our heart. And as a type 1 diabetic, we all know that we are more susceptible to having heart issues. So be mindful of stuff like that. I found that mozzarella cheese has significantly less milligrams of sodium. I think it has 175 milligrams versus American cheese, which has like 415. And then you can add a whole bunch of like different spices and peppers and great different salt alternatives to your meals that will really spice it up, like my Brussels sprouts. You add a salt alternative, or that Mrs. Dash little bottle, you put that on stuff, delicious. The everything bagel spices, you put that on like some cream cheese and some celery, and that is a fantastic snack because you're getting your fiber, you're getting your protein, and you're getting your fat. So make sure you have those things every time you eat. And then you also want to make sure that you have your cholesterol below below 200, I believe it is, and your saturated fat you want also below, I think it's 200 milligrams per day. and you don't want any trans fats because those all add up and hurt your heart. And then, so your cholesterol, I think, is broken up into like LDL and HDL. So your LDL is you want below 100 when you go in to get that tested, and your HDL you want above a 60. So those are kind of the range that you want to keep in mind when you go in to get tested and say this my cholesterol, is that good or not? Again, not a medical professional, but something to maybe talk about with your doctor if you are concerned that you might be eating too much sodium. And then you also want to make sure that your triglycerides are low. When you're first diagnosed, at least for me, my triglycerides were through the roof. So you want to just make sure that you are bringing those down by not having any negative things like a ton of alcohol or a ton of red meat. And you want to make sure that you're exercising. So those are just some of the fun things, not so fun, about eating to keep in mind. And then for me, I tend to, since I don't have a pump yet, I am bolusing about 10 to 30 minutes ahead of time. So if I go out to eat, I'll usually order and then I'll go to the restroom and do my insulin. And that also helps to control any kind of spikes that I may see. And then, yeah, just make sure that you are counting your carbs along with all of those other things. Incredibly helpful, and it'll help you in the long run too. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks. Bye.